All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another one of my interviews here on Drip Talk with Blake Disnick Roberts. I have a very special guest with me today. He is no other than a former pro wrestler who has wrestled for the companies such as WWE, TNA slash Impact, UXW, and much, much more. And he is most notably known for being the brother of the legendary wrestler Chris Candido. He is no other than Johnny Candido, so we're going to get him on in here, and then we will start.
All right, where should I put my phone so I look coolest? All right.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
works.
Blake the Snake, we're good?
Yeah.
All
All
right,
right,
cool.
so how are you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. It's summertime by the Jersey Shore. Well, it's getting there. So, yeah, man. Good vibes, beautiful weather. How's everything with
Yeah,
you?
it's great. I mean, I wish I had the warm weather here in Wisconsin. It's still cold here, like usual, so
What do you, I feel like Wisconsin got a bad rap for me because I never, really, got to hang out there. I was the NWA Midwest champion for a little bit. And,
mhm.
I remember I went out there with, I have a really funny story about this. Are you going to break this up and make it a YouTube thing or no?
No, it's just going to be just totally like this.
All right. So if I tell you a funny story about the Midwest regarding Balls Mahoney, it'll just stay between us like this.
Yeah, but it's going to be posted on Facebook, so
All
yeah.
right. So all right. No. Well, so I thought Milwaukee was cool, and I remember what I remember most about Milwaukee was we went out to like some dinner or something, and like they were like, oh, right across the street was where Jeffrey Dahmer lived in his apartment complex. It was knocked down at the time, but they're like, oh, this is where Jeffrey Dahmer was like fucking, doing whatever he was doing, serial killing people. So that part stuck out to me about Wisconsin. But yeah, the Midwest is a cool area, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
it
a little,
is.
I'm partial to New Jersey and New York, but that's home.
Yeah. So again, I just want to thank you for taking your time out to come on here and do this with me.
Of course.
So, the first question I'll ask is, when did you personally start doing wrestling? What made you want to do it?
All right. So when did I first start doing wrestling? All right. So growing up with a brother like mine who was just so focused on lifting weights, wrestling. That's all he gave a shit about. Um, Even when we were little kids playing wrestling in the backyard, he was my older brother. So I always knew I was going to fall into the business. Like initially, I started boxing at like 13, 14, and I was just an athlete. I played all different sports. Um, but how I got into the business was I drove with my brother to a show in Rochester, and we get into the locker room. It was like 2002, so I was like 20. My brother's like, I don't really know any of these guys. I'll just wrestle you for the main event. I'm like, shit, really? Like, is that cool? He's like, yeah. Just keep your ears open and pretend we're in the backyard. So I did, and I was just picking him up, suplexing him, beating the shit out of him. And so that was my first match, and that kind of got me like hooked on wrestling. And like I said, I always figured we would just end up being a tag team, like when I got a little bit older. But I'll say my first 5 to 10 matches was against my brother. He would teach me how to wrestle, how to play to the crowd, and all that stuff. And a lot of it was just learning it at home. Again in the backyard, tying up on the beach. You saw I live right by the beach, so we'd be on the beach all day, arm drags. He'd be throwing me over waves. We'd be fighting, wrestling. So it was always just like second nature, to kind of. I knew I was gonna fall into it one day, and then once I did, it was just kind of like on the job training, you know?
Yeah. So did you guys like train together or separate? Because he was the older brother. So did he get into training before you, or how did that training
Oh
system
yeah.
work?
So he was like he was 10 years older than me. So all he like I said, all he cared about was wrestling and training and all this
Hmm.
stuff. So um I started going to the gym with him when I was like I don't know, 13, 14, when we started going to like our local gym. That's how I actually got into boxing first because I would go by the heavy bag and I would just whip hooks at the heavy bag. And
Yeah.
a boxing trainer came up to me. He's like, "Kid, you're never gonna win a fight like that. You know, you got to stand like this. You got to stick out your jab. Boom, boom, boom." So I learned boxing, and I guess it kind of translated a little bit over to the ring. And then again, working with my brother, who was just my brother could work with you if he got you in the ring. He would just say, "All right, just listen to me." And so yeah, I got into the business from my brother just 'cause he was so passionate about it. That's all he ever cared about. I don't think I ever loved anything as much as my brother loved wrestling. You know, like that was his thing. He fucking loved it.
Yeah, of
And the
course.
training, and yeah, I started training with my brother. Like I guess like unbeknownst to me, we would just train because we had the boardwalk. Me and him would run on the boardwalk together. We'd go out swim in the ocean together. You know, shit like that. So yeah, and then like I said again, when I got older, 20, 21, 22, I started working with him. Then I started working with guys. It's easier to work with people that you're friends with. So I would like work with Balls Mahoney because I knew him. He grew up down the street, and then Axel, and then I just started becoming more comfortable in the ring.
Yeah. And about Balls and Axel, that was your only match that you had in the WWE. So how did you feel about that match, and what was going through your head at that time? And your partner was Damian Adams, I'm pretty sure. And what was he like as a partner?
All right, so here's what was going on. So Damon Adams is a super awesome guy, but my family was dead against wrestling. They hated it. They hated it before my brother passed away, and then when he passed away, they really hated it. So I was hiding it from them that I was wrestling. They had no freaking idea. So the story goes, as Balls tells it, and I'll tell it from my side, was I was on the beach one day, just chilling out with my friends. Like, so around here, kind of like all the locals have their own part of the beach to hang out at. So I was hanging on the beach with my friends, my sister's friends, and then around like 4, I get a call, and it's Sergeant Slaughter. He's like, "Is this Johnny Candido?" I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Can you get to the Meadowlands by 5 o'clock?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, I'll make it up there." So I get up there. They're like, "Great, kid, you're on first," and I see John there, Axel there. So it was me and Damian Adams. They put us together, and our job was to get we were enhancement talent to get Balls and Axel over, right? So
Hmm.
we did.
Yep.
We had a great match that night. We were all so freaking stoked. And for me, as a young wrestler, that was a great payday for me. So, but this was right after my brother passed away. So, on one hand, I have my parents going, "You have to get out of this business. We don't, you know, no more. We can't go through with another son." And then I have Balls in the other year going, "JC, me and you," because what happened was Axel, something happened with him, and he was not going to work there. And Balls, before he told me, sold them on. He wanted to tag with me because we had tagged on the Indies. He's like, "JC, it's me and you. Me and you. We're going to be a tag team up here." So I had like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, you know, I had that match, but I would always be there. It was very very tough because at the time, like I said, I had 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and then I ended up getting a real career, which I think at the time and now paid off. Now I'm doing freaking great, and like a lot of my friends are freaking dead, But you know, it would be interesting to see what would have happened had I taken that route. But again, at the time, that was in 2005. I was 23, 24. So
Yep.
what did I think of working for WWE? It was awesome. I mean, how many people can get to say that they actually did that, you know? And what was even cooler is, I remember that day, like I said, I was on the beach. They called me up. You know, I got to the show. We were the first match on Raw. And then I get to the ring, and then I see a whole bunch of kids from my hometown in the front row. They're like, dude, what the hell? You know, because they just seen me on the beach like an hour and a half ago. I'm like, if you, the video's on YouTube. And when I point to the front row, it's like a whole bunch of kids from my town. So, yeah, I at that time I couldn't totally commit to wrestling because I was still living in my parents' house, and they hated the business so much. Like I said, I hid it from them from after my brother passed. And then I think they finally caught. I was making an excuse. I'd have black eyes. Like, what happened? I'm like, oh, I got in a fight with some bikers. Like, I would just like make shit up, and then they knew that I was really wrestling. So, I think I really retired in like 2008. But then I came back again and tagged with Tommy Dreamer. And then I came back again and worked the program with the ball. I think like once you get in front of a crowd, it's and you get that feeling, it's hard to duplicate that any other way. So I still miss it. You know, I still miss, you know, being in the ring. But, you know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So, and it's also, well, because when my brother, I don't know how much you know of my brother's story, but you know, he got before he went to TNA, and I had just started working on the Indies. The two of us had gone to Raw together, and like as guests, you know. And my brother was going to work a dark match against someone. I forget who it was, and something happened. And then I remember the Brooklyn Brawler was our agent. He said to me, he's like, Johnny, he's like, or he said to Chris, he's like, you want to work with your brother? And my brother was looking at me going, yeah. And I said, oh, dude, I didn't bring my gear. And he's like, you didn't bring your gear. And so I always feel bad about that. Like, what if I had brought my gear that night? Because my brother was like, dude, just come to the building with me for Raw. So that was like, there's certain years in my life that feel like they were 5 years, and then certain years that just blow by. Like those, I'll say this, like with my brother from 2001 till he passed in 2005, we were together like every single day, and you know, just like having the best time. And so those years, you know, I'll cherish more than anything. Even, you know, like I said, I grew up in the business, but when I was actually like an active wrestler, and so was my brother, he was so freaking proud of me, you know, just when I started getting my own traction and being booked independent of him, he was just so stoked, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, of course. Definitely, since you get to say that you worked with your sibling, your brother. Not many get to say that. And, you know, and now also talking about you got a regular job now, so it's probably hard for you to do wrestling and a regular job too.
Well, what I was thinking about that, right? Because people always say, like, Johnny, dude, you're in good shape. You're freaking jacked. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, it's just being practical. Like, a lot of the things I did, like, so now, when I was in my younger 20s, I would do, like, cage matches, do a swanton off the top of the cage, do a freaking table. I say that to say, now, if I'm thinking, and if I hesitate, that's when I'm going to get injured. Like before, I didn't care. I would do a dive off the balcony. I would do this. I would do that. I never really got hurt, really. But I feel like if I do it halfway, like trying to protect myself, is when I would get injured. You know, so it's tough because people all the time, and I'm still like, it's kind of like once you're kind of like in this fraternity of wrestlers, like still some of my best friends are Sabu, Sandman. Like guys like that I talk to, we might not talk to each other every day or even every week, but it's always like, hey brother, hey, I love you, man. Love you too. Everything's good. So it's like I I definitely miss that.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with everything that I did in the business, and I know my brother's super stoked, and it's really cool to see that this many years later that people still, because you have no idea the amount of young wrestlers right now that like are on top that will DM me or they'll get my number and they'll text me like, you know what, like your brother was so freaking cool to me. Because they say a lot of times guys who, so just to put it into context, like coming from like a small neighborhood like this, and all my friends and everybody around here, they just knew him as my older brother. They didn't give a shit that he wrestled or anything. He was just treated normal around here. So
Yeah.
when he went to the buildings, they would say like a lot of the guys who had like done WrestleMania would be in the locker room like with their shades on, just like sitting there. And my brother would actually go out, watch the match, critique people's matches, like, and he would help people along. So a lot of guys have, come out and said like, dude, your brother was such a big influence on my career. He helped me with X, Y, and Z. And you know, like I said, guys who are like top guys now. So he made an impact on a lot of people's lives, and that's just kind of the guy he was. He was like he was a very affable person. Like
Yeah.
I think sometimes when there's like stories about him or like Dark Side of the Ring and things like that, it doesn't come across how it really was. Like 95% of the time, we were joking around, breaking balls, having fun. So that's what it was. It was it was fun. He's like, dude, I get paid to live out my dream that I wanted to do as a kid. I love it.
Yeah, of course. And somebody mentioned that Johnny wrestled for OVW a couple times.
Oh, I I think I did. Yeah. It was kind of hard to keep track of bookings, kind of just because, uh, did I work for OVW? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was tough because a lot of different promoters were calling me. I had, again, this is a time I'm supposed to be like kayfabe, and my parents didn't know what I was doing, and I was a lot of the times I would say, "Yo, I'm staying in Manhattan at my friend's house," but I was really going to the Midwest, or going to California, or going down south, or going here, or going there to wrestle, and that's the only way I was making a living at the time. You know,
Yeah.
because just to like back it up a little bit, when my brother was alive, like I said, we lifted together, we lived together, we did everything together, and we just figured when I got old enough, we would just be a tag team, and that was it. So sometimes life throws a fucking wrench in your plans, and you got to kind of call a fucking audible, I guess, right? I mean,
Yeah. So when you and Johnny were watching wrestling as kids and doing all this type of stuff, who was both of your guys' favorite wrestlers growing up?
all right. So growing up, my favorite guy was Big John Studd. I don't know if you remember that guy. He was from a
Yeah.
long time ago, but but aside from that, I love Demolition, and my brother loved like well, first off, my brother loved Ric Flair. That's who he emulated. My brother loved to. My brother was big on, we're out there. Let's give the fans a show. Let's, you know, he was big into feeding, bumping, big backdrop. Let's get the crowd into it. Like my brother was a performer,
Yeah.
so even as little kids, he he would let me beat the crap out of him all over the backyard. Unless he was Kamala, then that was my ass. He'd get the nerve pinch on me, beat the shit out. I mean, he still kicked the crap out of me when he was a little brother. But yeah, the guys I looked up to, I thought Jimmy Snuka. I was a huge fan of his, and I got to wrestle him later on in life. and my brother pretty much got to work all the guys that he looked up to. And what's crazy is I don't know of anybody who's worked as many like legends as I have, because in Jersey when I was coming up as a young wrestler, they would bring in like Brutus Beefcake, Tito
Yep.
Santana, Jimmy Snuka, and they always put me in the main event against them because I would always, feed bump, feed bump. I would make them look like $1,000,000, and so I guess I got that from my brother, just being like, dude, it's a because some guys were like real serious about it. My brother was kind of like of the mindset of let's make everything look good. Let's give the fans their money's worth. I don't care if there's 100 people or 100,000. Let's go out there and give it our all. Like, that was like his mindset on wrestling. So again, as his younger brother, whatever he said to me was, that's what it was. It was, his rules were gospel to me. Anything he said, I believed 1,000%. And let me just tell you,
Yeah.
as an older brother, and I have 2 younger sisters, so I know how it is. But my brother, I got beat up by older kids once, right? And my brother beat the shit out of these guys. So here's the story, right? I know I showed you around my neighborhood a little bit, right?
Yep.
By my house down the street's a basketball court. I was playing hoops one day by myself. I was probably 7 at the time, just shooting jump shots by myself. And a car full of like teenagers drove by, and they're like, "Hey, fat boy!" They yelled something at me. I gave the middle finger. I didn't know what that meant. I saw it on HBO, but I gave them the middle finger. These guys stopped the car. They got out of their car, and they threw me on the ground. They beat the crap out of me. They were bouncing the ball off my head. I'm like, I'm going to get my brother to come kick your ass. They're like, good, go get your brother. I'm like, all right, I will. So I came back to my house, and I'm like, hey, Cook, that was his nickname. I'm like, Cook, some guys just beat the shit out of me down at St. Catherine's schoolyard. He's like, where are they? I'm like, all right, let's go. So we jump into his car. We drove the half a block. I remember so the courts are behind a fence. The gate was right here, but he just hopped the fence, went over and went boom, 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 knocked 3 of them out. 3 punches, 3 knockouts. And one guy tears off running down the schoolyard. My brother chases him down. I'm running behind them. And I see my brother has the guy up against a wall. So, like, if anybody, like fuck with me, my brother was going to take him out. And that's how it was with my sisters, too, But, yeah, man, he was the greatest big brother, He fucking ruled.
Yeah. The older brothers always protected the younger ones,
Yo, you want to hear a funny story, right? About older
Yeah.
brothers, younger brothers. Do you remember the wrestler, the Great Muta?
Yeah.
All right, so the Great Muta would always spit that green shit or the blue shit, right? So
Yep.
my brother, when we were kids, he would like stalk around the house, like with food, with Muta mist, and he would sneak up on me and cover me in that green shit or blue shit or whatever, right? So I remember one day after he got me, we have like an outside shower. He like washed me all off. I'm like, show me how you do that. He's like, all right. He's like, I go up and I get mom's food coloring. I put a tiny little bit in my mouth. And then, when I sneak up on you, I go, and I spit in your face. I'm like, all right. So I'm thinking about this. So then a couple days later,
Oh.
oh, you're back. You hear me? Are you back? You hear me?
Yeah. I don't know what happened there. You like.
Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, my little sister's baptism, right? I have on a suit,
Yeah.
and so my brother has. Our house was 4 floors. The 4th floor was just my brother's. It's like a bedroom and then what we call the office, like a hangout room. So I have my suit on. I want to go upstairs to show him how nice I look. I I run up the stairs, open his door, and he's waiting there. Covers me with blue mist on my new suit. He goes, holy shit, mom and dad's going to kill me. So he runs me downstairs, scrubs off all the stuff, on my suit. You know, I look good. We go to the church, my sister's baptism, whatever. A couple days later, he's up in his room. It's like late at night. I go up, I get the food coloring, I put some in my mouth. I run up to the fourth floor, I bust the door open, and I look in his bed. All of a sudden, two heads pop out of the bed. It's him and some chick named Dana. I run over and I go, Puh! I spit the fucking blue food coloring. A tiny bit got on him, but it all got on her. And she screamed. She screamed. I ran down the fourth floor, down the third. I tried to run down the porch, and he caught me on the porch, and he beat the shit out of me. But it was worth it. We had that story for the rest of our lives, you know. But yeah, I got Dana was the chick right before he met Tammy, and I covered her in fucking in green food coloring. So yeah, man.
A memory she'll probably always have.
Oh, I'm sure, right? And I remember, like I said, I remember like it was yesterday, busting his door open. I think I was just gonna like, because normally, like I said, my brother had the fourth floor. It'd be like normally him and his buddies up there watching wrestling, whatever the fuck. And like I said, I kicked the door open, and then I see a chick and my brother, like they're I guess sort of like making out or whatever under the covers. And I went to go spit it on him, but I just fucking I like spit it all on her, and then fucking took off. And he called me and kicked the shit out of me. But like I said, it was worth it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you had to get your payback sometime or another. I mean.
Oh yeah, well, like the funny thing with me and my brother was like, so like I said, I started boxing early. And my brother was like a pro wrestling purist, and he was of the mindset. He's like, dude, I don't fucking. He's like, I'm not really gonna fight for real. He was a tough guy. He was like he lettered in amateur wrestling. He was tough, but like I was quicker to like fuck somebody up in real life. So when I had my first couple encounters in the wrestling ring, I remember. He was working with the Sandman, right? And he's like,
yep.
And Sandman's like, kid, like I said, Sandman's one of my best friends. Like, kid, I want to get you involved. He's like, here's what you're going to do. You hit the ring, you get the cane. Go like you're going to cane me, turn it on your brother, me and you, beers, and then I'll cane you. So my brother tells me, oh, everybody who's watching the show is smart, right? They're all like smart fans, they know.
Yeah,
right?
They're all wrestling fans.
Well, I mean, like smart fans, like they know it's a work. I think everybody knows it's a work by now. But anyway, so
yeah,
my brother's like, he's like, when you get that cane, he's like, don't swing it like a baseball bat. He goes, swing it overhead, crack me on top of the head with it, and make that cool sound. I'll sell you and Sandman beers, and then it'll be awesome. This is in Queens, New York, right? My second time being in a wrestling ring. I get the cane. I go to hit the Sandman. I turn around. And I do exactly opposite of what my brother says. I swing it like a baseball bat. I crack him right across the face. He's got like a black and blue stripe on his face. Then I turn around. Sandman canes me. So anyway, on the ride home, he's like, "Oh, dude, you did great." I'm like, "Oh man, I fucked your whole face up." He's like, "Nah, it's fine." So then the next night, I'm cutting a promo, and me and him are going to do a pull apart, right? So I cut a promo. He gets into the ring. He gets in my face. Again, I'm really, really new. This is like my third or fourth time in the ring. He pushes me, and I go boom, boom, boom. And I hit him left eye, right eye, left eye. And before the pull apart even happens, he hits the deck. And so everybody pulls me off of him. So now on the ride home, he's like, "Oh, you did a great job, bro." And he had two black eyes, a freaking stripe across his face. And then later on at his house, we had a couple drinks. I'm like, "Dude, give me a black eye." I'm like, "You have two black eyes." I'm like, "I fucked you all up." He's like, "Oh, you did great." I'm like, "No, give me a black eye. Come on." I kept like needling him to give me a black eye. He's like, "I'm not going to do it." He's like, "Fucking psycho. I'm not going to give you a black eye." And then I kept doing it. I'm like, "Come on, give me a black eye." He's like, "I'm not going to." And he punches me in the fucking face. And then I had a black eye. And then we had to meet our mom for like Mother's Day dinner or Mother's Day brunch or whatever. And both of us rolled up, and he had two black eyes, and I had one. My mom's like, "Look, you fucking moron brothers." So, I, and like I wrote my brother's biography 2 years ago. Chris Candido, No Gimmicks Needed, and there's a chapter called
Yeah.
The Moron Brothers, and that's like the first story I tell in The Moron Brothers, because that's when my mom dubbed us the Moron Brothers because we both gave each other black eyes.
So I know you mentioned that you have sisters. When did they ever think about joining wrestling, or are they wrestling fans? Or
Oh hell no, no, they're the opposite. They're like very professional. Like it's I mean, no, but like when they were, so my sisters are like 5 and 6 years younger than me. They're not into wrestling. They're both. One of my sisters works in the medical field, and the other one is in. She's in sports. My one sister is like a. I don't know what you'd call her. She's like she works for the NBA, but in like a managerial position in the NBA. They weren't wrestling fans. We still like they'll goof around about it and stuff, but they they were a lot younger than us, and it just it wasn't their thing. They couldn't really give a shit either way. They thought it
yeah.
was cool. They thought it was cool to have two older brothers who were wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
But and yeah. All right, sorry. Go ahead. I don't mean to keep droning on about like fucking crazy stories.
Oh no, that's fine. I enjoy the stories.
It seems like my life was like one fucking giant story, because like in high school, like when I was growing up, um, like my brother, I was going to all his WWF shows with him. Well, not all, but like a lot. And then when he went to ECW, he took me with him. So I kept doing that, and then he bought a fucking mansion, had sports cars, all this different shit, and also he showed me this thing, right? It was called Go For It. It was like Grubhub before Grubhub, and he could call this place, order up from any place he wanted, and the person would deliver the food, right? And he knew like my core group of friends from the neighborhood, like my best like 10 friends. He's like, if you and your friends are ever like hungry, just call this place and just sign the thing. So me being like whatever, freshman, sophomore in high school, I thought the guy was a big wrestling fan and was giving my brother free food for autographs. That's what I thought. So around sophomore year, I stopped going with him to ECW, and I'd be like, yo, I'm gonna stay back. I'll watch the house. I'll take care of the cars. But what I'd really do was have parties at his house. Like my whole high school would be at his house. And then the next morning, there'd be like people sleeping on the couch. There'd be people all over the place. I'm like, yo, there's this place I could just call, order food, and they bring it for free. All I got to do is sign this gimmick, right? Just sign this paper, and they give it for free to my brother. So I do that for like 6 months, and then my brother calls me one day. He's like, dude, he's like, he's like, my American Express card is maxed out. Well, he said something like, he's like, my American Express card is maxed out. How'd that happen? I go, what are you talking about? He's like, the food place. I'm like, yeah, the guy that gives you the food for free for the fucking autographs. He's like, it's not free, you idiot. It's my credit card. I'm like, oh shit. So I racked up like $13,000 in food from this place. He really didn't give a shit. He made me and my friends paint his fence. But yeah, yeah, when he was gone, I would have these crazy parties at his house. We would drive his cars around. We didn't, like I said, this is before we even had learner's permits. We're driving, fucking. So yeah, his house was like, everybody in high school called it WrestleFest. They're like, oh, you're gonna have a WrestleFest this weekend? I'm like, let me see what my brother's gonna be. So we had some wild parties at his house.
Yeah. So I know they do like wrestling conventions and like these wrestling conventions now, and there's like Rob Feinstein that does like the ECW reunion shows. Have you ever been asked to do one of those, and or why don't you do many conventions or? appearances much?
Um, Initially, I did like a lot of the ECW reunion shows, but it pretty much came down to um, after my brother died, I developed a lot of bad habits with the drugs and shit. I didn't like I developed a painkiller habit and a muscle relaxer habit and a Xanax habit and all this other shit. And so like, and my family noticed it obviously because I would be fucked up and it was kind of a symptom of like it was like right after my brother died, I just went right back on the road, went right back into wrestling, and I was taking stuff to kind of like just you know just be able to get it. It still is so shocking to me that my brother's not here with me because we were like like joined at the hip, and my brother went through his struggles with everything. He got clean before he passed away, but my family went through that, and like I said, they gave me like kind of like an ultimatum, and they were like, if you decide to if you decide to continue to wrestle. I remember my mom saying, she's like, I don't know what we're gonna do. She like got all choked up. She's like, I can't go through it again. So I kind of made her that promise that I wouldn't, even though now I don't think I would go back to old habits or anything like that. I made him that promise then, and you know, it's tough because, like I said, I have a good career now. Everything's good, and if I would have I couldn't jump in with both feet because what's the goal of being in the wrestling industry is to get to WWE and then make the good paydays and do all that stuff. But I already do have a very good career and everything's good. So why do that? I think the risk reward thing, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe if I was put back in that environment full time, who knows? I could go back to those old habits. I don't know. To be honest with you. So yeah, that's probably why you don't see me around at those conventions and stuff. Sometimes I'll go say hi. Like I'll say with if I know Dreamers in town or Sabu or Sandman, guys I'm friends with, we'll meet for drinks, dinner, whatever the fuck. But I don't think I could be a full-time wrestler anymore, or even a part-time. Or maybe I could. I don't know. I've been thinking about it a lot because it really is a reason to fucking get into good shape and do all this stuff. And I don't think I would get back to doing what I was doing. So I think the answer is it's yet to be seen. I think I would maybe. I'm kind of open to the idea, but at the same time, I kind of promised my family that I wouldn't do it. So
yeah,
that's kind of what that boils down to. Because let me just say this about my brother, right? So what I think, like regular people wouldn't know, and like how could they, was that Chris was straight A student, fucking was the best kid in the entire world. Got fucking he was in this big book, Who's Who of American High School Students. It was because he got straight A's all his years of high school, was a standout amateur wrestler, and he only touched a drug when he was in WWF and he broke his neck. It's because he got a prescription. And I think somebody like that, because my brother, like I said, he would never smoke or drink or anything that would interfere with his performance. And I think once he realized that he could take a painkiller or a muscle relaxer and it could actually make him all right and feel good and work, then maybe he went off the rails for a little bit. And he did, But then he got back on track and passed away, like, shortly after. But I think my parents were so afraid of that because they saw that bad side of the business, which I think now isn't as prevalent as it was, because like I said, I know a lot of the guys now, well, not a lot. I know a fair amount of them, but it doesn't seem as crazy as it was back then with everybody taking stuff. I'm not saying everybody, but the majority of people. So, short answer, I don't know. I would like to, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, of course.
So, you know, I have a couple ideas that, you know, I would go and I would work with this guy or that guy. And of course, I miss it. I think once you get that, like I said, once you get that in your blood, you know, you fucking miss doing that, you know. So,
Yep.
I don't know if I answered your question sufficiently, but
Yeah, you did. And I mean, also never say never in wrestling, and also, so yeah, you know.
yeah, no, that's what's up.
And also, on the side of your brother doing drugs and doing all that type of stuff, what made him want to get cleared during like the time that
It
he did?
so it was in Puerto Rico. I went down to meet them, and it it I'll put it like this, right? In Puerto Rico, it's very easy to get somas, and even here is very easy to get somas. But in Puerto Rico, they were everywhere, and it seemed like, I'll put it like this: he was at a point in Puerto Rico when this is like '03. He was like so in his active addiction that me and him, I was taking somas too, but I wasn't taking as many as he was. But me and him would take walks in the morning, and he would say things like, if I gotta, he's like, maybe I'm gonna go out like Eddie Gilbert, young, leave a good-looking corpse, live fast, die young. I'm like, dude, don't fucking say shit like that. Like, what the fuck? Like, so we'd get in like fights about that, but I was still taking like gimmicks with him. The both of us were taking somas, everything. And then, what really started him thinking about stopping this way of life, or what he was doing was, somas are essential nervous system depressant. They're a muscle relaxer, but if you take them all the time, like someone's an alcoholic, right? And if they drink every day, and they stop cold turkey, they're gonna have a seizure, and they're gonna end up in the hospital. And it's the same thing with somas, and I saw that with my brother, and it was fucking. Sorry, I'm getting my group text keep going. So anyway, me and my brother were out to lunch one day after Puerto Rico. He was here, and he was talking about. He's like, the guys on the Indies right now. He's like, man, they don't look like professional athletes. He's like, when I was 17, 18, I was jacked. I was already like going to Japan and going to Smoky Mountain. He's like, these guys, he's like, I was on a whole different level. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, I'm like, that's why you were in fucking WWF by the time you were 22. Like, you fucking made it. You were a standout. You fucking, you fucking did what everybody in this industry wants to do. He's just like, man. He's like, I really fucked everything up, didn't I? I'm like, no, dude, you didn't. I'm like, you're 31 years old, or like 32. I'm like, let's go. Like, me and you are training together. Let's fucking go. And he did. Like, he medically detoxed, went to a doctor's office, got everything he needed so he wouldn't have a seizure coming off all the stuff. And we just trained heavy all the time. And he got so clear-headed that he was always a very fun, affable guy. But when he got, like, totally clear-headed, he was even more himself. Like, dude, we go kayaking every fucking day, go catch some waves, fucking. He was just like, dude, I can't believe I lived so many years just, like, dulling my senses with these fucking drugs. I'm so happy I'm off them. Like, he was so happy. And then he died from that fucking stupid accident, And it fucking kills me. On one hand, it kills me that he died from that accident. And on the other hand, I'm glad if he had to pass away, that he passed away the way he did. A year of no drugs under his belt. People remembering how, in the end, how much he fucking loved the business. And that, you know, he loved the business more than he loved any drug. And once his eyes were kind of opened to, you know, people aren't using me as much because maybe I'm taking too much drugs. Like that never really computed, I don't think, until me and him had that talk that one day, and he was just like, "Man, I fucked my." He's like, "This is what I lived my whole entire life for, and I'm throwing it away because I'm getting all fucked up." And like I said, he stopped, and you know, and like I said, he was so happy, so fucking happy, and that's when we had the greatest time. And the two of, like I said, the last year, we would, before he got clean, we would get like fucked up together and stuff. But when he decided to get clean, I decided to get clean with him. That's my older brother. Whatever the fuck you're doing, I'm doing with you. So we did it, you know. And I was gonna say, on one hand, you know, I'm so happy that he's so fondly remembered, and that he did get clean and had that, you know, died because of a freak accident rather than overdosing in some fucking hotel in Puerto Rico and being like, you know, another statistic, because he loved the business too much to be that, you know. And I kind of feel like sometimes your destiny is you know, it's been written for you. So, you know, people remember him so fondly, and still you're here talking to me, his younger brother, and I don't know, it's just a testament to how much he loved the business. And you know, and that's and that yeah, and that's fucking what it is, man. And if you were here right now, so many things would be fucking different. So yeah, dude.
Yeah. He probably lived his best life when he was off on drugs for that 1 year, you know?
Yeah, it was probably as the like I think the two happiest time. So I mean, he wasn't like always like fucking falling over a fucked up addict or anything. There was a time that he was more fucked up than not. But I think the two happiest times I ever saw him were like, I remember when he first got signed to WWF. He came back home. He had all WWF gear on, and so again, my parents were staunchly against him being a pro wrestler. But he came with a signed contract. One of our neighbors was a lawyer. They looked at the contract. They weren't too happy about it. They didn't like, but whatever, brother. This is what I work for. It kind of validated his hard work. And again, he was like 23, so he was so full of fun. He was so happy to be in WWF. And then toward the end, once he, so that's when he's like 23, 24, and then toward the end, when he got completely clean, man, he was so fucking happy. It was like he was as happy as he was in the beginning, and now he had all this respect as a veteran who had, you know, worked on WrestleManias and been on countless pay-per-views and worked with all the top guys. And he was still in the back. Like, he would say, like, he'd have his match, like, you know, this is like the last year and a half. He'd have a match. He's like, dude, I wish I could, like, go out there and do something else. So he'd, like, run out there and manage me. And then he'd, like, go out there. Like, he just wanted it. He was so fucking happy, you know? Yeah. So I'm glad you know, that's and he always wanted to take everybody with him. That's another thing with my brother. I guess it's like with me too. But, like, it's always like, if my brother's like, when he has a new house, we're having a housewarming party and just everybody comes over. And there's like 90 people at his house. And that's like kind of how it was with wrestling. It's like, oh, bring my brother. Oh, and you're a good athlete. We'll teach you how to wrestle too. He was just always like this like guy who was like so super inclusive. And even like after matches or, you know, after shows, we'd be at whatever, fucking Applebee's. Like me, my brother, Crowbar, Balls, Raven, just like no, whatever. People come up like, can I have an autograph? Or be like, oh, pull up a chair. You want some of my potato skins? Sit down. What's up, dude? He was like the most nicest person you'd ever meet in the entire world. You know, and like, it sounds so cliche, but I really do believe there is something to, like, you know, like the fucking good die young, because he really was like a really, really genuinely awesome person. You know, that's missed by a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. And if you don't mind sharing the story and background reason of the death of Chris, I think it was in TNA.
Yeah. So so he was loving when he was doing the TNA because he got to work as a singles and he got to manage the naturals. So he was so fucking happy. And I remember at this time too, um, I was doing the indies here, and I was happy with that. And he was like, "Oh man, I'm gonna get you," because it was in Florida. He's like, "Oh dude, I'm gonna get you down here." I'm like, "Dude, I'm like, focus on yourself for once in your fucking life. Just focus on yourself. I'll be fine doing my indies, and we'll fucking hang out just when you come back." So he was so fucking happy doing all that. Um, so I'm sorry, what was the question? The days leading up to his passing? Is
Um,
that,
what was like the background and reasoning of the death and like
the reasoning for the okay. So he was um, on that. He was on this pay per view. I think it was called Lockdown, where every match was a cage match, right? And
Mhm.
during his match, the guy came into the ring with a camera, and so I know this. I didn't go. Because like I said, he was telling me, "Dude, come down here, da 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 da, fly over here with me." I'm like, "No, you do your thing. I'm gonna stay here, whatever." So, but after he got injured, I'm on the phone with him. As soon as he's in the back, he's calling me. He's like, "Oh my god." He goes, "The guy came into the ring with a camera. I wasn't sure where he was." He goes, "I went to take a bump, and then I tried to get out of the way of him, and that's what got his boot hung up in the canvas, and that broke his tibia and fibia." And more or less on the phone, he's just like, "Dude, I'm embarrassed." Like he wasn't. He's like, "I couldn't stand up." He's like, I shouldn't have left the ring." He's like, "I was just like, I was embarrassed because I couldn't stand up." He's like, "I just rolled out of the ring, and then, he's like, right now they're taking me to the hospital." Um, I'm like, "Are you all right?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's gonna be fine." Um, so then, like, we were on the phone like the whole time. He's like, "All right, I'm about to go to surgery," and then Shane Douglas was with him. So I'm like, "Give the phone to Shane." So I was like talking to Shane while he was undergoing surgery. Then when he came out of surgery, he's like, "Yeah, I feel great, dude. Everything's awesome. I'm gonna go do TV now." So we did TV that Monday, I think. And then he's like, "I'm gonna come home." So he came home, and I'm like, "Yo, dude, what's going on? What are you doing?" He's like, "Nothing. I'm gonna go to sleep, but you can come over. Fucking, we'll watch Goodfellas or something. I'm gonna fall asleep, but yeah, come over, hang out. Fucking, we'll lounge, just lounge, chill out." I'm like, "All right." And then I think I forget something else. Maybe a girlfriend or something was like, "Oh, just stay." For me, was like, "Oh, just stay here." I'm like, "Yo, Cook." I'm like, "How about I just pick you up in the morning? We'll go to breakfast." He's like, "All right, yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep anyway." He's like, "Let's go to breakfast tomorrow morning. Love you, bro. Love you too." Next morning, I get a call. Cook's in the hospital. I'm like, "What the fuck? Cook's in the hospital?" So I I remember just peeling out in my car, and I remember I didn't. So I got a call to my cell phone that he was in the hospital, and first thing I did was just start going there, and then I see my mom, and she's walking back. She just took a walk on the boardwalk with her and like some of her girlfriends. I remember she was smiling, and I'll never forget this because I looked at her. I'm like, "Mom, Cook's in the hospital," and her smile like turned to like dread. And so I went up there first, and I went into the room, and you know, he was there, and he like just had passed away, and dude, it was tough, man. Like I was like, "Cook, dude, come on, wake up, man." Like I thought like I could have like willed him back to fucking life, and then after a while of me doing that, you know, I grabbed his hand and I could feel there was no blood flow going through it. It was the most shocking thing in my entire life. Like I left, I fucking went, I found a church, I said a couple prayers. Then the next worst thing ever was I knew my mom and my little sisters and everyone were on their way. I remember just sitting in my car. And I see my mom, my little sisters run into the emergency room and then run back out crying. Oh man, that was the worst shit I ever saw in my life. You know? And then
Yeah.
after he passed away, um, I had the craziest dream that night. So this is not to get too crazy. I'll keep it quick, but like I still have recurring dreams about him, like every single night. But I remember that night I got back from the hospital. I don't know how long I sat on the couch, but I sat there. I guess I finally fell asleep. But in my dream was the two of us locked up, da 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 da, and he sat up on the counter. This is in my dream. I said, "Dude, what happened?" He goes, oh, "My body deteriorated." I'm like, "What? Are you gone? Are you here?" He's like, "No, I'm still around." And then I woke up, and I thought my dream was reality, and reality was he was still alive, basically. And then I realized, and I just fucking started crying. And then like the entire wrestling world descended on Spring Lake, New Jersey, and it was great. He had a great send off and everything, but how he died, what it said was acute pneumonia. I guess on the plane, um, he shouldn't have flown so fast after surgery. He just wanted to come home and chill out, and I guess a blood clot formed, went to his lungs, and like I just know the reason of death was acute pneumonia. And fuck, man, it's weird. It's still weird not having him around right now. Like, because normally he'd be sitting right here with me. We'd be fucking, you know, joking around,
Yeah.
having like, it's still not fucking. It still feels fucking weird, you know.
Mm-hmm. So that day was Tammy Sitch, she still with him, and what was
Yeah.
her reaction to that?
You want to know what the reaction was? So, uh, I'm not a big fan of hers. I fucking hate her, to be honest. Um, if you want background, I will. But um, as I'm in the room going, Cook, wake up, dude. She comes in. She goes, 8. I said, what? She's like, they only gave me 8 Xanax for this. And then she fucking walked away. Like, I'm not a big fan of hers. And her and my brother, the two of their personalities, you couldn't find two people with different personalities. Because, you know, her reaction to my brother passing was, like I said, the first thing she said to me was, "I only got 8 Xanax for this." Like that's where your mind's at right now. The guy you're supposed to love is dead. You care about fucking Xanax, and yeah, just afterwards, just I don't know. She said it's like a show. I think she's a fucking psychopath, to be honest with you. But yeah, dude, she's just not a very good person, and it's tough because I think the amount of time that me and my brother were together, and when he was, especially when he was clean, she was like Tammy loved chaos. She loved to drink, and every time she drank, she would cause fucking chaos. And she was pissed that he was like sober. And there'd be times when we'd come back from the road, we'd be, I think he was going to break up with her. And I know for a couple of reasons. But there'd be times when we'd be driving back from West Virginia, and we'd be right by his house. And he's like, I don't feel like going home, do you? I'm like, yeah, not if you don't. He's like, let's go over to Chucky Howard's restaurant, like one of his friend's restaurants. I'm like, all right, let's go over there. And we would kill all the time in the world so we wouldn't have to go back home to Tammy. Like, you know, the breakup was inevitable. And the other day, just because I just wanted to hear his fucking voice, his shoot interview popped up on my YouTube, and I drove to the shoot interview when I listened. I was there for like the first hour, but I'm like, I know his fucking story, so I left. And then I just wanted to hear his voice, so I fast forwarded to like the middle. And Rob Feinstein said something like, "Oh, in ECW, when you and Tammy, you know, the two of you were heavily into drugs, with the somas, did you ever think, did you ever think about a trial separation?" And remember, and I know my brother how he talks. He goes, he's like back then, He's like, no, we didn't think we were bad for each other. He goes, yeah, well, right now it sounds like a fucking great idea. Like he was like kind of passive aggressive. So I knew what he fucking meant by that. And there also was a local girl that was really digging him at the time. He didn't get with her or anything. But I'm like, Cook, why don't you get with what's her name? But yeah, needless to say, I'm not the biggest fan of Tammy. I mean, fuck, I can go for another fucking 3 hours about the fucking nightmare that she is. But I never got that. I guess it's because maybe the the only times me and him ever got into physical fights were over her. Like over, she would do some crazy shit, and me and him would fucking like an example of that is, remember you saw the dark side of the ring of him, right?
Yeah.
Or no? When I said I couldn't watch my brother getting treated like that, that wasn't about the Shawn Michaels shit. It was a night when she happened to like lock herself, like not happened to, well, she wasn't booked on these shows, but we would always leave without her. We'd make up excuses. Oh, you don't want to come. Balls is coming with us. Bammer's coming with us. Going to be no room. Like we always make up excuses for her not to come. But this one time, she like locked herself in my fucking car, and she came with us. And we went to Boston. She drank. She caused a huge fucking scene. And back in the hotel room. Long story short, back in the hotel room, he's like, "Babe, what's wrong?" Bang, she hits him. "Babe, what's wrong?" Bang, she hits him. And she just kept hitting him. He was no selling. And then she lay on the bed, and he's like, "Babe," and she kicked him right in the fucking face. And I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed him. I couldn't watch him get treated like that. I threw him into the hallway. I shut the door. I said, "Let's get in the fucking car and let's leave. Let's leave right now. Fuck her. Leave her here. Fuck this." And he's like, "I can't. I brought her into my business. I can't do it." I'm like, "Yes, you can." And also, I didn't know about her cheating thing because my brother had told me that was only rumors. So I was under the guise, had I known that was actually true, because that's when I severed all ties to her, was when she came out in public and said that was true. Because I guess what was evident to other people, my brother, I don't know if it was because of like cognitive dissonance or whatever, or if he really believed it. He's like, "Dude," he's like, "it's one girl in a locker room full of fucking 300 guys. You think there's going to be rumors?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I'm going to believe my brother. Yeah, it's rumors." But once she said, yeah, she really did do that shit, fuck that. I'm not going to be loyal to her. Because he'd always be, when he'd go to Japan or something, he'd just be like, "Yo, watch Tammy, make sure she doesn't fucking burn the house down." I'm like, all right. So I would, watch her, make sure she didn't fucking burn the house down or whatever the fuck. But, she wasn't loyal to him, so what the fuck am I going to be loyal to her for,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, again, I've had like a bazillion stories with that. Like, just her with the fucking domestic violence shit, man. Like the fucking last time I saw her, right? We were at a fucking show in Wildwood. Like we, she had what do you call it? I worked that match with Axel and Damian Adams, but they had me again. Sabu was there, Sandman was there. They'd be like, "Kid, what are you doing? We're at the Madison Square Garden. Come here and get a payday." So I was going to WWE, fucking bumping around in the ring. I wrestled on the weekends doing my indie shit. And then Wildwood is this place in Jersey where there were shows Wednesday. And so this is right after I found out that the rumors were true. And we had a matinee show and then a night show. And Wildwood is one of those places on the Jersey Shore that has like a carnival on the beach. It has like roller coaster shit like that. I had a hurt neck. I caught a stinger. Like somebody like dropped me right on my head like 2 weekends prior. And she brought this chick she wanted to hook me up with. So we were drinking, or she was drinking, whatever the fuck. And I had my matches. After my last match, she's like, "Let's go on the rides." I didn't want to go on the rides because I fucking hurt my neck, but I knew she was going to throw a fit if I did. So I went on the rides. I did the fucking roller coaster. I did the teacups and shit. But then once we got to the bumper cars, and we were standing in the row for the bumper cars, and I saw people like getting their heads jolted back from the bumper cars. I'm like, "Yo, I can't go on the bumper cars." She fucking smacked me. I'm like, yo, I'm not. I'm like, I have a hurt neck. I'm not going to the bumper cars. She's like, your head's so big you can't fit through a fucking doorway. And she's punching me, and I'm no selling it. I'm like, yo, don't fucking touch me. She's like, your brother never cared. I'm like, well, I'm not a brother, so don't fucking touch me. Smack me, punch me. I just stand there, no sell it. And she hit me again, and I'm just like, fuck you. And you know, those like steel guardrails. I hopped over the steel guardrail. She like tumbled over it after me and was like throwing punches in the back of my head. I just walked to my car, got in my car, started driving home. I forget who I called, another wrestler, and I'm like, fuck, I'm done with Tammy. I'm never talking to this bitch again. And that was the last time we saw each other. Was her drunkenly swinging at the back of my head. So yeah, if that tells you
Wow.
anything, if that tells you anything about a character, it's like, you know, some people say like, oh, this person can't drink. She's like that. She can't drink. There's never been a time where we could sit on the fucking porch, have a pleasant couple drinks, and tell some funny stories. Anytime she drank, crazy, throwing bottles, attacking people, every time, 100% of the time. Not one time in my entire life have we ever just sat there, had a couple of drinks, and like had fun. It was always a fucking clusterfuck.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
I
because
knew.
I know.
Well, I was just getting before. I'm sorry, I keep cutting this fucking long promo on Tammy, but I fucking knew that something bad was gonna happen. The arrest before her last arrest with when she killed the guy with the DUI, because she said she put out like a public tweet, and then she said the Taminator is back at her. She called herself the Taminator. I'm like, now she's embracing this shit. I'm like, something bad's gonna happen. You know, I'm like, something bad's gonna happen, and I hope she doesn't fucking hurt some poor fucking civilian. And she did. So,
Wow.
sorry. Yeah, what were you gonna say? I didn't mean to cut you off with that. I'm just thinking about all that shit.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so like a couple years ago, before this recent situation of her DUI, I was messaging her actually on Instagram, and we went
Oh
back and
Jesus.
forth. Yeah, and we talked. Actually tried asking her to do an interview, and um, I don't fully remember what she said, but I think she said she was like in house arrest, so she couldn't do it because of the house arrest. So, um, yeah, she was like full of lies then too.
Yeah, I I mean, like she's just, she's full of shit. Like what killed me was like when she did when she got sentenced. Right, I was in Miami um, when she got sentenced in Florida because I was like almost thinking about going there, but I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna hang in Miami. I was in South Beach, and I remember I was listening to the like her sentencing was like live. They streamed it live on YouTube, and there was some kind of psychiatrist, and she worked this guy. And the psychiatrist is like, well, you know, from her years of wrestling, she's had like 13 concussions, slipped discs in her back, broken bones, all this different shit. I'm like, what is she talking about? I'm like, she wasn't a wrestler. She wasn't there taking bumps. She's fucking working this guy. And yeah, I mean, I'm glad that she's going to be behind bars and not going to be able to hurt anyone or kill anyone anymore because I know what she does. Like, it's a pattern. Like, and she tried to say like, oh, you know, when she pretty much said like when my brother died, like that's what made her downward spiral. She was a fucking nightmare way before that. Everybody knew that shit, you know. And my friends, like, shit was so crazy with her. Um, my one buddy called me. He's like, "Yo, I always tell people the tornado story about Tammy." I'm like, "What the fuck is the tornado story?" He's like, "You don't remember this?" I'm like, "No." So here's a tornado story. So they had a couple cars, and one of them was like a Toyota 4Runner, like a SUV. And she's like, all right, guys, I'm gonna go fucking wherever she was gonna go. She's gonna go drive somewhere. Maybe she was fucked up, probably, obviously. And so me, my brother, and my friends were sitting around the porch, we're waiting for her, and she comes walking back up to the house. We're like, where's the car? She's like, oh, a fucking tornado picked me up and sent me flipping through the air, and the car's in a ditch down the street because of this tornado. We're like, a tornado came through here? She's like, yeah, it was a tornado. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, a tornado picked me up. So sure enough, we like walked down the street and there was the car flipped over, and I called a bunch of my friends and we fucking pushed it back over and pulled it out of this ditch. But yeah, dude, she was a nightmare to deal with. It's just when it was me and my brother and other people, we would not call the cops and just wait till she fucking tuckered herself out trying to beat the shit out of us and fell asleep, and then act like it never happened. Whereas like regular people just would call the cops and she would get arrested, you know? So she's just not a very good person. And I like how Tom Pritchard put it one time. This was like way before any of this stuff happened, and somebody asked him about her. He's another guy that I talk to, you know, here and there, and he always has like great advice, and he's a super cool dude. But somebody asked about Tammy, like before the big, her latest arrest, and he's like, I'll say this. He's like, she wasn't very nice to a whole lot of people, and I feel like karma's getting her, or something like that. I'm like, that's perfectly phrased. Like, she was an asshole to a lot of people, you know. With her, it was kind of like she saw people as like what she could get out of you, and if she couldn't get anything out of you, then you were no good. You were like a psychopath. Like she really was, which is like the opposite from my brother, who was like the most genuine person on the planet, you know.
Yep. And then she got inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2011. What was your reaction to that? And did you ever like attend or?
Oh fuck no! I was so off the pulse of wrestling in like 2011. I didn't even fucking know. I didn't care. Yeah, for me, you know, once I wasn't an active wrestler or whatever, I didn't want anything to do with her. So I, you know, yeah, I didn't give a shit about that. And yeah, I just didn't. I mean, it's really hard because, yo, I swear to God, like I've met a lot of like bad. I've known some fucking bad motherfuckers in my life, and Tammy is like the worst human being that I've ever met in my life. A good friend of mine, right? My one friend Macho from the Bronx. He did 5 years on Rikers Island for selling coke. He stabbed motherfuckers up. He was in there for fucking 5 years. Or 4 years, whatever, Macho, if you see this. But I remember one night, this is before I knew anything about Tammy cheating on my brother. This is like maybe early 06. I had a show, and then I was supposed to pick her up from her show and drive her back home. And he called me. He's like, yo, Johnny. He's like, me and my friend, we'll drive Tammy back home. I'm like, dude. I'm like, I should probably drive her back home. He's like, no. I want to drive her back home. My friend's a big fan. We'll drive her back home. I'm like, really? I'm like, dude, it's going to be a fucking crazy night. He's like, dude, you fucking kidding me? I'll drive her back home. Forget about it. I'm like, all right. So 10 o'clock the next morning, I get a call. Macho. I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, yo, B, last night was the craziest fucking night of my entire life. I'm like, what happened? He's like, shit, I was waiting at a rest stop for somebody getting some drugs. Then she didn't know where the fuck she lived. He's like, the sun just came up and we just fucking finally found her house. I'm like, and this is a guy who has been in like fucking knife fights in jail, and one night with her was the craziest night of his life. You know? Like, she was just a fucking... She is like a nightmare to be around, especially when she drinks. But, you know, I mean, that's not late-breaking news. You know, I don't want to, you know, fucking bury her anymore, but it's just what it is.
Yep. Because I know she did also like a live signing with Rob Feinstein on Signed by Superstars. And I watched that, and I mean, that's when she was clear of stuff. So
I mean, well, she can act outwardly friendly when she needs to, but you it's for me to say anything nice about Tammy. I guess she was good on the mic in the beginning, but I just saw she treated my brother and somebody you love you shouldn't treat like that.
yeah,
So it's going to be tough for me to say anything nice about her, to be honest.
yeah. What? So say if she like sent you a note from jail, or if she ever got in contact with you, what would you do?
I wouldn't believe what she said, and I would probably tell my family and everybody that she sent me a note and just throw it away. I wouldn't believe her. Like I just feel like I know her to the core. And I know it wouldn't be genuine. She would be trying to work an angle on me, like trying to get money out of me or something. Like I wouldn't. I might open it out of curiosity, but I wouldn't like do whatever she asked me to do. You know.
Hmm. So I know you mentioned to me about steroids and you and Chris taking them. So if you have any stories about that that you would like to tell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude, I have a lot of fucking funny stories about that. So between so my brother was on the gas, and the first time I got on it was for me. I was 20. I'll tell you why I remember I was 20. For me, the shit was like rocket fuel. I let him hit me with it like once a week for 8 weeks or whatever, and my brother's top bench was 505 pounds. A 5 plate guy, like normally a good bench is like 315, but in the fours, I remember that guy Johnny Canine, Bruiser Bedlam, when I was a kid. He told me, he's like, hey kid, if you bench 3 plates, don't even talk to me. If you can bench 4 plates, get me a cold drink. If you can bench 5 plates, we can hang out. I'm like, all right. So I remember I got on the gas, and every week I was going up. Fucking 365, 405, 475. Then I got to my 5 plate day, right? That's 495. I was like, put fives on either other side. I banged it out for a double. Boom. Me and my brother and Balls go to this bar Barry's to celebrate right down the fucking block from the gym. And my brother, not a big drinker. We have like a shot and a beer. The drinking age in the U.S. Are you in the U.S. or in Canada? You're in the U.S., right?
Yep, U.S. Yep.
All right, yeah. So the drinking age in the U.S. is 21. So my brother, after a shot in his beer, he's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you, bro." He's like, "Hey, bartender, check out my little brother, man. 20 years old, he just benched 500 pounds. He's 20 years old, he just benched 500 pounds." The bartender's going, "How old is he?" Brother's going, "He's 20 years old, man. Check him out. Check out his fucking muscles. 20 years old." The bartender's going, "How fucking old is he?" Brother's like, "He's 20. Are you fucking deaf?" And Balls is kicking his chair. And he's like, "What are you fucking kicking?" I'm like, "Dude, the fucking drinking age is 21, you idiot." He's like, "Oh, fuck." The bartender's like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." Because we used to go in there all the time. But what steroids did to me, right, was, so it made me, so I'm always a super nice guy. And I saw like the definition of volatile, like someone who's volatile would be like unexpectedly just snapping. And that would happen to me when I was on the gas. And I remember this time, well, it happened a couple times, but this time I'm driving, my brother's in my passenger seat. We have to go pick up Bam Bam at exit 109, commuter park. Bam's getting dropped off at commuter parking, and we're picking him up, and I'm driving. And my brother's like, "Dude, get off exit 109. I'm like, "I'm off the fucking exit." He's like, "Make a left." He's like, "Do you see the stop sign? Make a right. Make a left." He's like, "Do you know how to drive?" I'm like, "You drive, you motherfucker." Pooh. And I fucking, so I wanted to punch him, but there wasn't enough room, so I go, gah! And I punched a hole in my fucking windshield. I go, cocksucker! I opened up my door. I ran around my car going, poof, 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 punching dents all the way in it. I go to my brother's side to like rip him out of the car, and he goes, and he fucking pushes the door down, locked. So I'm like, gah! And then I fucking stopped. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm done. And I went back to the front seat. I'm just like, yo, I'm like, yo, my bad. But yeah, dude, that shit. So one of the funniest times, right? So it would just, like I said, my temper is volatile. Where meaning it takes very, very, very a lot to piss me off. But if I like start yelling, that means like it's going to be a physical confrontation. It's like I go from like here to 100, like fast as fuck. But but this is a fucking funny story. So me and my brother, we go to see our buddy Bolt in Brooklyn to pick up some shit, right? And I remember he's like, hey guys, I got all of this new shit, whatever you want, here you go. So I don't know anything about steroids. My brother's like, oh, I'll take some of this, I'll take some of this, I'll take some of this. This is at like noon. He's like, we got Test 400, we got Sustanon, Winstrol, Deca, everything we need, Phenojet, let's go. On our ride home, we're like, yo, let's stop at Nature's Corner, this health food place. Like, let's go to Nature's Corner and get we'll get a juice and we'll get a shot of wheatgrass. Like, wheatgrass shot was like the hot shit. Like, we thought it was like healthy. So we're like, all right, let's get some wheatgrass and we'll get like a vegetable drink. So we're standing in line waiting, and then our friend's mother from the neighborhood turns around and he goes, Christopher, Jonathan, I didn't know you guys were juicing. And both of us are like, excuse me? She's like, I didn't know you guys were juicing. How long have you been on juice? And both of us, we just picked up steroids 45 minutes ago. So we think that like we dropped something out of our pockets. We're like, excuse me? And she like has a drink and she sips it and we see I'm like fucking juice. My brother's like, oh shit, the juice. He's like, oh my god, I've been on the juice for a long time. Makes you feel strong. The juice is great, isn't it? She's like, oh yeah, I love the juice. You feel so great when you're on the juice. It like turned into like a Saturday Night Live skit. It was fucking funny as hell. But I mean, when it comes to, that shit works, you know. I mean, but yeah, it gave me it gave me a hair trigger temper. Well, I guess I had that anyway. I think I just exacerbated it a tiny bit. But I think everybody who looks like that and in a cosmetic business, it's kind of hard to, to get that physique naturally, especially if you're on the road a whole bunch. I know a lot of guys who didn't, but I think most guys will use the juice. I just have a lot of funny stories about my brother because he was a big fan of getting gassed up. But yeah, those couple of stories. Just that, like, there was a couple of times I blew my stack over like stupid shit like that. You know, I remember one time he yelled at me about something, and I freaking picked him up in a fireman's carry and ran down the street and threw him into the ocean. Like, I would just flip, you know. So Blake the Snake. So like I said before, this is a live stream you're just doing, or you break it up and put it on YouTube, or you're just talking to people on Facebook?
This is just like a live stream that's going on to my Facebook.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, because so if this is just a live stream, then I can tell you some funny stories and shit. You're not going to break it up to make it like clickbait, right? No,
I don't do editing either stuff.
All right, so here's one of the fun. I think I only told this story once before. I told it on Rene Dupree's live stream. I made him promise he wasn't going to tell it to. He wasn't going to make it clickbait. So, funny story, right? So, this is 2007, 2006. I'm the NWA Midwest champion. I had defended it a couple times. And they're like, who do you want to work with? Because I won it from Danny Daniels. I defended it. And I'm like, let me work with Balls. Me and Balls are having great matches. let's bring Balls out to the Midwest, right? So, me and Balls, a whole bunch of shit happened before we got to the airport, but me and him get to O'Hare Airport, right? We get to Chicago. Ed Schumann is the owner of NWA Midwest. He's there to pick us up. He's got a black Lincoln Continental, and there's two of the boys in the back seat. I think it was Silas Young and Mike Dukes, and I was sitting in between them, and Balls is sitting in the front seat. And if you know anything about Balls, his name is John, but he talks incessantly. He'll sit there and talk. Yeah, anyway, me and JC, we're going to do the spot, da-da-da-da. So we get in the car, right? We're fucking... Ed Schumann's driving, and we're talking. He's like, oh, we have a great idea of what we're going to do for the finish. Somebody in the back lights a joint, passes it around, passes it to Balls. Balls doesn't really smoke. So he's like, yeah, I got a really good idea about something we should do. And pull over. Fucking projectile vomits all over the front of this guy's car, right? Pukes all up in the vents. It goes all up on the fucking inside of the windshield. He goes, pull over. He pushes the door up and goes, pukes all over the fucking door. So Balls is now on all fours, puking outside of the door. Me and the guys in the back are looking. So Balls' ass is like right here. Ed Schumann's looking to see what's going on. Balls goes and farts right in Ed Schumann's face. And all of us in the back see it. And he goes, you farted right in my face. Dude, me and the guys in the back seat fell out of the back seat. We were laughing so hard. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Balls puked and simultaneously farted in the owner of NWA's fucking face. It was fucking hilarious. I saw the guy's fucking eyebrows like blow back from Balls' fart. Like seriously. Like the guy's looking like, what's going on? Balls goes, and fucking farts right in his face. Yeah, I have some fucking funny stories about him. Fuck. Like this one time, so to get from Chris's house to our parents' house, if we wanted to take a shortcut and like a more interesting cut, we can go by Balls' house, right? And we'd always see him outside or whatever the fuck. And this is so this fucking story is hilarious. So we go by, he's outside. He's like, hey guys, what's happening? He's like, come inside. We're like, all right. So we go inside. He's like, I'm making chicken mahoney. So anytime Balls was in his house, all he would wear was his underwear, like boxer shorts, right? And he'd always be scratching, talking. So he's like, you guys gotta stay for dinner. So me and my brother sit on the fucking couch. Balls in his fucking underpants. He has raw chicken, fucking eggs, breadcrumbs, a pan of hot oil. He's got his left hand scratching his nuts, right? And he's taking raw chicken, putting it in the egg, putting it into the breadcrumbs, hand off the balls onto the chicken, into the hot oil, back on the balls. And he's going, JC, we should do that spot. Chair shot, no sell, Hulk out. Me and my brother are doing like play-by-play. Like, no, look, he's doing it, he's scratching again. So he keeps going, chicken, eggs, breadcrumbs, off the balls, into the hot oil. And me and my brother going, no, dude, no. So then finally, he does it a couple times more. And he's got one piece of fucking chicken ready. He cuts a slice of it off, takes it, dunks it in marinara sauce, and sticks it right into my brother's mouth, just about. And my brother just fucking seals his lips shut. And he's like, here, eat it. My brother goes, he's like, brother. He goes, I can't do it, man. He's like, I just watched you scratch your nuts for 45 minutes, and now you're trying to put your fingers in my mouth. I can't. He's like, I can't do it. I can't. He's like, no, JC, here, you. I'm like, nah, dude, I fucking ate already. I'm stuffed. He's like, no, come on. And he's like, it was my inner thigh anyway. Like, that would have made a fucking difference. But dude, it was just hilarious. Just he kept, the whole time he was doing it, me and him were like, no, look, he's going right for the balls. There you go. Oh, Jesus Christ. And then when he just put the chicken right to my brother's mouth, and he just fucking sealed his lips shut, fuck, it was hilarious. Yeah, dude, I haven't thought of fucking funny stories. Fuck.
Oh, jeez. That was great. No wonder why his name was Balls Mahoney.
Right? And dude, he was like one of the biggest personalities that I've ever met in my fucking entire life. Holy shit. Yo, you know him and New Jack beef? Do you know like what happened between the two of them? Like,
No, actually.
oh my god! So I was in the middle of it because I'm friends with both of them, right? So I'll tell you, Boss's side. I wish this could be animated, so you can get. So I drive by Boss's house one day. Boss like JC, come here, come here. I'm like, what's up? He's like, me and Jack. He's like, one of us are gonna fucking die. I'm like, what happened? So he goes, all right. He's like, I met this girl, Kate, whose husband is in a wheelchair, right? She's a masseuse. So we go to her room after the show, and she'd give me a massage, just a massage. He's like, she was doing it for like 20 minutes. He's like, then the husband came over in a wheelchair, and he said, that's enough. Poof, and punched her in the face. And Balls goes, that's not cool. That's not cool. He's like, stop that. So he's like, the next night, I'm in the room with Kate, wheelchair guy. He goes, the girl's giving me a massage. Wheelchair guy comes out, and he goes, that's enough. Pulls a baseball bat from somewhere and goes, that's enough. For pink, hits the girl in the head with a hits his girl in the head with a baseball bat. Balls goes, that's not cool. Takes the guy in the wheelchair, opens the hotel room door, dumps him out of the wheelchair, shuts the door. Somehow, wheelchair guy gets back in his wheelchair and has a line to New Jack, calls New Jack up, and says, Balls is in there stooping my girl, and he has Hep C. So then I call New Jack. So this is Balls' story. He tells me that the fucking guy. So I hear from New Jack. I'm like, Jack, what happened? He goes, Balls. He pushed that little guy outside the room, and they was in there cutting on each other, drinking each other blood, doing fucking devil Satan shit, writing blood on the walls. He putting all of us at risk because they're doing some crazy satanic craziness in there. So to try to find the middle ground of what the fuck actually went on, and the two of them were like legitimately hot at each other, like over this fucking thing. And I think they like got in a fight and it was like a fucking pull apart. But yeah, that was like one of the craziest stories. Because trying to find the middle ground of who was telling the story correctly and like what the fuck actually happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, he was a fucking character, and Jack was the character too. That was just one of those fucking funny stuff. Like, again, if I could fucking, I should make an animated series of just all the crazy stories in wrestling.
Oh. I don't know what happened. Maybe we lost you again.
All right, Blake the Snake, what do you think? I'm gonna get some food. We good? Should we call it a night? Or do we have people significantly entertained?
Yeah, I mean,
Or you
whatever
got
you
some
want to
more?
do.
Oh, you got some more questions for me? I can grab one more of these if you want, real quick. You want me to do one more drink and I'll be back outside in
Yeah,
2 minutes. All right,
yeah,
hang
that'll
on.
work. Yeah.
I'll be back outside in 2 minutes.
All right. Guys, he just went to go get a drink, so he'll be right back.
Yo, Blake the Snake, how do I find you? Hey, yo. Yo, brother.
Sorry, man. Hey.
No, it's okay. Sometimes I go on these story tangents. I like, you know what's funny, dude? Like, I was on, I forget whose podcast it was, but they were like throwing all these different wrestlers' names at me. It's like Johnny shoots on this one, Johnny shoots on that one. I think shoot now is construed like negatively, but I don't have anything bad to say about anyone. Like they're all like, the only person I have anything bad to say about is Tammy. Like as far as like all the boys, like I fucking love them all. Like we're all like I'm like now I'm still like I said I'm super tight with. I'm probably the closest with Sandman and Sabu. But again, there's a whole lot of them still that, you know, I fucking talk to. I think it's, you know, it's like a fraternity. Once you're in, it's like the mob. It really is like the mob because you grow up in this life that seems so fucking crazy to other people, but to you it's just fucking normal. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's and things that you tell people they're so like blown away by, but that's just like a Tuesday for you. You know?
Yeah. All right. So as a big fan of Kiss, the band myself, and I know you told me that you and your brother were like huge fans of them as well.
Oh my God.
What are some stories you could tell about that and the multiple times that you went to the Kiss shows? What was that atmosphere like and all of that?
Dude, my brother, is it better with the light on? Does it matter? All right, anyway.
I mean, yeah.
What do you call it? So, all right, first off, so I grew up, so like I said, my brother had the fourth floor to himself, and up there it was 2 rooms, and like one room was like a chill room with like a TV, a bunch of couches, and then there was the office, and there was always Kiss playing in the office, and he had like posters and all kind of fucking crazy shit, and he would always go to Kiss shows, and the first Kiss show I went to was with me and my brother and Jim Cornette. I went to a whole bunch of them. We went backstage. I fucking met the guys. But one of the craziest stories ever, right? Remember earlier, I took you like a little tour of our town, like our little neighborhood, right? When I showed you my brother's bench. All right, so one day, let's say a couple years after my brother passes away, behind that wall I showed you, there's a pool. So there's the beach, and then you go up to the boardwalk, and then there's that bench that says Chris Candido, you know, our son, our brother, our champion at Peace by the Beach. And he's got his plaque on his bench right there on South End where we grew up. And so one day, I'm going from the beach up to the pool where the lockers are, and I look, and there's Peter Criss from Kiss sitting on my brother's bench. And I do a double take. I'm like, holy shit. And it's Peter Criss. Like, and so I go up to him. I was like, hey, man. I'm like, Peter Criss? He's like, hey, dude. He had like these like beatnik glasses on. Like, he had like hippie glasses. Kind of like this, but they were just like little circle kind of glasses. He's like, hey. He's like, hey, brother, what's happening? I'm like, hey, man. I'm like, I just got to tell you, because there's benches all up and down the beach. I'm like, the bench you're sitting on is my older brother's, and he was the biggest Kiss fan. I'm like, so to see you sitting on my brother's bench, I just got to say, man, it really means a lot. And he's just like, thanks, dude. And, you know, we fucking high-fived each other. But it was just so crazy because out of all the benches that line Spring Lake Boardwalk, the one that says Chris Candido, Peter Criss, I later found out my friend Cosmo is friends with him, and he lives in a town over from us. But how crazy is it that, of whatever 2.5 miles of fucking boardwalk in Spring Lake, he sits on my brother's bench. You know what I mean? And yeah, but dude, going to Kiss shows, it was unreal. I pretty much know every lyric to every Kiss song, up to and including um, was Unmasked or Dynasty. I'm trying to think, but yeah, no, I'm a huge Kiss fan. Early Kiss, but
Yeah.
who put you on to Kiss? How did you know about Kiss?
Honestly, it was just myself. I think because one day I'm pretty sure I just seen them one day, and then I heard like their song. I want to rock and roll all night,
Yeah, yeah.
and I got into that song, and I really liked how it was. And then I looked them up, and I liked how they did their makeup, how the band was, just in general, and what they were like. So basically, I just got in them myself.
That's awesome, dude. And I think like a lot of pro wrestlers gravitate toward Kiss because they're like the same kind of like pageantry and like pyro. They put on a show. When you go to a Kiss concert, like I've taken friends of mine, like again, my brother would be like, hey, I got a bunch of tickets to the Kiss concert. You want to bring some of your buddies? I'm like, yeah. And my friends would all leave Kiss fans. You know, like when you see them live, it's like it's something else. You know. So yeah, me and my brother were both huge Kiss fans. There was a Kiss museum down here. One of the cooler places, like a lot of the times when I think about me and my brother, like on the road, like a lot of times it would be like, you know, car ride or airport to fucking hotel to building, then back, which was fun. But I remember we had a whole day together. We had we decided to take the entire day off on. We wrestled Saturday night. We decided to stay an extra night in Cleveland. We went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We're like, let's just stay. You wanna? He's like, yeah, fuck it, let's just stay. So we just stayed. Went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, hung out, did a bunch of cool shit. Went out and got sushi. It's times like that that I remember because again, we're living the life of a wrestler, and we happen to have this day off, and we're in Cleveland. Both of us want to check out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we're like, both of us have money. Let's just stay and do it big and enjoy Cleveland. So yeah, times like that, man, I really miss, And like I said,
Yeah.
it's crazy because the anniversary of his passing is coming up, and like I said, it's still fucking strange to have him not around.
Mm-hmm. And also about Kiss, yeah. I went to see them in concert for my very first time in 2023,
No
September
way.
1st. Yeah, my very first time, and it's actually my lock screen. I, I, the Nasty Boys were there for a meet and greet. They were
No
there
way.
with the motorcyclist Horny Mike. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, so the Nasty Boys were there doing a meet and greet, and they are amazing. I got to sit down, talk to him, basically do an interview with Jerry, and so they were there. But then the Kiss concert, I had general admission tickets, but it was kind of behind all of like the stuff that they had set up, like the cameras, the all their like equipment. So you could barely see them, but you could see them at the same time. But just to be there was really, really cool.
And they're still going hard at this age.
Yep.
Like the show was still like Paul Stanley out front, Gene on the bass, Ace on guitar. Like that's crazy, man. Because
Oh no, it was Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Tommy Thayer, and Eric Singer.
Uh, Eric Singer, the drummer.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Because Paul and Gene are like the two guys that like hold it down, and then yeah, dude, no, another funny story. Like I remember right after I went to see Kiss with my brother and Cornette, and then maybe like 2 days later, we were driving down to Baltimore. Me, my brother, a whole bunch of us. I'm sorry, me and my brother. Balls was driving, and I remember I got sick and I barfed in the car. I was a little kid. So this is in like 1996. So I was like 14. But long story short, I remember I wasn't feeling well. I was like, all right, dude, right after the match, we'll get out of here and we'll have you home by like 10. Balls went in there with New Jack. New Jack threw a table at Balls, hit Balls in their face, and Balls had to get stitches in his eye. So we had to go to the hospital, and we were waiting all night. With me, I got over my sickness, and me and my brother were recreating the Kiss concert at like 2 a.m. It was it was a lot of fun, man. They're definitely something. There's something else live. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, just this from. So, did you like currently watch wrestling and what's going on and everything? Like, I assume you do, right?
Oh yeah, I do it. Monday, Fridays, I'm on watching. Sometimes NXT, sometimes AEW. I keep up. I post stuff. I'm a big fanatic of wrestling. So
I watch so I don't watch wrestling, but if I turn it on, there's someone I know on TV, I'll watch. Like I became good friends with Brian Myers because he was like a big fan of my brother's, and he's Brian Myers is cool as shit. And guys like Jay Lethal, Homicide, like guys like I grew up with like in Jersey, who would be like, if I was a freshman, they were the seniors, kind of, and they're still on TV. If I see them, I'll like watch their matches and stuff. But I really don't like have my finger on the pulse of what's happening in wrestling right now. But it's still cool to see a lot of the guys doing it. Like Samoa Joe is still kicking ass, like and that's like, and it's great to see these guys. And at the same time, I'm like, shit. If my brother was here right now, you know, who knows what would, where he'd be or where the two of us would be, or you know what I'm saying?
yeah. Do you think he would still possibly be wrestling for the WWE?
My brother had a one-track mind. He was never doing anything besides wrestling. He would never ever get a straight job ever. He'd be either at WWE or AEW, either as a wrestler or as an agent. Because why he left WWE initially, so we know. I think we met on Instagram. I haven't I'm new to Instagram. I don't know, maybe 8 months, but I have his match with The Rock on there. Like my brother was helping train The Rock, Mark Henry, because he was like really technically sound. Because my brother started doing it when he was like 13. So so after the Body Dominance thing wrapped up, they wanted to keep him around to like help train the new guys. And I remember him at the time saying, I don't want to train other people to be the star. I want to be the star. I have a small window to like make money in this business. So I want to, I want to be the one that's out there, drawing the crowd. If he asked him that again when he was 30, he would say, fuck, I should have just stayed, trained those guys, and they would have repackaged me. But at the time, because what I learned from like talking to like guys from Jersey, they're like, dude, like Ace Darling, they're like, dude, your brother was like the guy from Jersey that everybody wanted to work with, like on the way up, like your brother was the man. So when he got to WWF, he wasn't cocky at all. He was like a very like cool guy, but he knew he was good. So, he could have done so much, and to think that, like, dude, I'm gonna be 42 in like a week, and my brother died when he was 33. That's nuts. I still feel like
Wow.
a fucking young kid. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like I'm old at all. And I just, like, for me, my brother always seemed so much like older and wiser and like all knowing. But in reality, my brother's birthday is March 21st, and he died April 28th. So my brother had turned 33 like a month before he died. Like, that's how young he
Mm.
was, you know. And me and all my friends looked at him like he was just like, all knowing older brother, when he wasn't. He was just a
Yeah.
kid. He was just navigating the business, trying to, you know, like a lot of guys don't get their push till the mid 30s, early 40s. So who knows what the future could have had for him. You know.
Yeah, of course. So there was an incident in ECW on November 23rd of 1996, the New Jack and Mass Transit incident. What are your takes and thoughts of what happened with that situation? And what are some stories you remember Chris telling you about that night? Because he was there that night and he wrestled Stevie Richards.
So from I think I had this talk with a couple other people too, like with Ace Darling and Paul London and Renee. We talked about the incident too, and so the kid who got fucking his head zipped. So wrestling is a very um like, I'm trying to think what the word is. It's like there's a lot of unwritten rules, which means, like, when I go into a locker room, I shake everyone's hand. Hello. I defer to all veterans. If they have something they want to do, I listen to them. Um, I don't go up to a veteran and tell him what he should do. And so supposedly the mass transit guy, went up to New Jack, who's not a great guy to go up to and say, like, "Hey, dude, I'm gonna fucking boom, boom, boom. I'll throw you in. Fucking, I'll give you a fucking backdrop. Put you on a table. I'll fucking do whatever." Jack's like, "Yo, motherfucker!" Like, he's like, "I ain't doing none of that shit." And he's like, "Oh, and by the way, I have a friend who's a midget who's gonna come in." Like, he had like this crazy stuff. And Jack's like, he's like, "Dude," he's like, "I'm gonna walk and hit you with shit." Like, and then I guess the guy said, "I want to get color. Can you fucking get it for me?" Which you never do. I mean, I got color like 4 times, and I think my brother do it to me the first time, and I did the other times myself. But you don't want to ask some guy you don't know to fucking get color for you. Are you fucking crazy?
Yeah.
And so I was kind of just. So I know Jack came out, and he used to have like a fucking scalpel blade on like a fucking thing of bamboo or something, and he was pissed because this kid kept saying like this was gonna go down. So obviously he wasn't like schooled in the unwritten rules that you're supposed to. You shut the fuck up when you're younger. You say hello to everyone, and if you're working with a guy and you're a younger guy, you listen to him, and that's it. Like, that's it. But the guy didn't know that, so I think so. I made that argument, and then those guys said, "Who the fuck would bring a scalpel blade to the fucking ring and zip somebody's head wide open?" So they have a point too. Um, I think if there was anyone that he shouldn't have approached that had a whole bunch of ideas, it would be New Jack. Like, if this guy came over to my brother's like, "Listen, man, I'm gonna fucking shoot you in. I'm gonna fucking boom and put you through," my brother would be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, calm down here a second, dude. Like, let's talk this through." But if he goes up to New Jack, New Jack's gonna be like, "All right, motherfucker." So, what are my thoughts on it? I think the kid really didn't know what the fuck he was doing and getting himself into. and Jack maybe a little bit went overboard with the fucking cutting his head wide, right open. But I guess if you go in and you say, see, I guess for me it's different because I was always like schooled in like the right way to do things, even when. So, I'm sorry, my fucking group text. Um, like I said, I worked a lot of the like the legends, like I said, like Greg the Hammer Valentine, Tito Santana, da 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 da. And I had a really good recipe for a match. And then I wrestled Lex Luger. I said, "How about we do X, Y, and Z?" I said, "I'll miss the fucking moonsault." Da da da. He's like, "Why do you want to do that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just like going off the top rope." He's like, he was giving me like the, work smarter, not harder fucking deal. And I was like, yeah, but I can do this and that. But at the end, I'm like, all right, yeah, sure, dude, whatever you want. You defer to your fucking elders. And I think, what do I think of it? I think it was like, it was like the same way David Schultz fucking slapped John Stossel. Like you couldn't have asked a worse guy, like a worse guy in the locker room what to do in that situation. You know what I mean? Like Jack was gonna zip that guy's head wide the fuck open because of the way he acted. Where if he maybe had asked my brother and Stevie Richards if he came up full of piss and vinegar and was like, "Listen, and they'd be like, "Kid, calm down. Just keep your ears open, and I'll fucking," or But since it's new, he's like, "All right, motherfucker, you want me to get you color? Fine." And fucking, I don't know. What do you think about it as a wrestling fan? What is your take? I mean,
I think
Jack took it a little too far.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a but. I think I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I think what I heard is that also when I interviewed the original referee Jim Molyneux, I asked him about this, and I agree with this. He said that mass transit was only 18 and that he had no training background or whatsoever. And he basically lied to them and said that he was formally trained and that he lied about his age. So at that time, it was, they didn't really know. So they put him in
Right.
the match. So it's kind of his fault for lying because he
Why would you
should
do that?
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should know what type of person New Jack is because New Jack has a bad side and a good side. It just depends on the person he's with, who he's talking to. And New Jack probably had no idea who this was. And if you're approaching somebody in a horrible way, like mass transit was, like you were saying, what do you think would have happened? New Jack was probably then upset, so he took his anger out on him and did what he does best, one of the best hardcore wrestlers out there, and he just
It's
because
like I was gonna say, like, why would a kid lie? Like, do you really want to get on a show that bad? Like, what do you think? I mean, the fucking New Jack, the mass transit guy, must have had a fucking screw loose. I don't know, just to go up to anyone and think you could just tell them, like, all right, because my understanding was he wanted to say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to you. Kind of the same way when Jack stabbed that guy from fucking down south. Whatever the fuck his name was. Crazy Red or whatever the fuck. The guy fucking decked Jack and tried to fucking shit can him. And Jack fucking stabbed him. Yeah, like, like, there's fucking unwritten rules to this stuff, but I mean, some of it was just common sense. Like, I don't know the first thing about bowling, but if I walked into a bowling locker room, I wouldn't fucking say anything. I'd just kind of shut my mouth and say my hellos, and you know what I mean. Like, Maybe
Hmm.
bowling's a bad. Like I was just thinking of a sport that not even a sport. Like just a you you can't just go into some type of competition and like start making demands and telling people what to do and this and that because people are going to feel a certain way and you know. Oh, which reminds me of a funny story, right? So Bam Bam Bigelow, right? Um,
Hmm.
he bought this big piece of land. So Bammer's from my brother started running shows in Spring Lake when he was 13 years old, or like 12, 13 years old. He got the ring from Larry Sharp's, and Bammer's from two towns north of us. So my brother was 13, and Bammer was 21 or 22, and Balls was my brother's age, but looked like he was 22. And they used like a bunch of local kids had a so my brother and Bam Bam uh had known each other since they were kids, right? So
Hmm.
um, Bammer and his wife divorced, and Bam Bam he got the ECW ring. We set it up like around here. Bammer moved to Pennsylvania, and he's like guys, I got 2 acres. He's like I got two buildings. I'm opening up Bam Bam Bigelow's sandwich shop, an ice cream parlor, and for the grand opening, I'm gonna have Bam Fest. I'm gonna have live bands. I'm gonna have bouncy castles for kids. I'm gonna have wrestling, obviously. I'm gonna have all this different shit. I'm gonna have a tug of war contest. All right, so first off, we get up there. My brother and Bammer booked the show. I wrestled my friend Thunderbolt. Balls wrestled Mike Cruel. And Bammer, my brother, wrestled the fucking main event. Oh, and Ray Apollo was there as Doink. I forget who he worked. And then there was a fucking tug of war. All right, there was a tug of war, a tug of war fucking challenge. So we were Team New Jersey. It was me, three of my fucking skinny friends, and my brother and Balls. And we're winning. We're killing everyone. We're fucking smoking everybody in this fucking tug of war contest. Until the finals, we come up against a professional tug of war team. All these guys are like 500 pounds. They have fucking cleats on. They're putting fucking chalk on their hands. Fucking knocking heads and shit. So my brother huddles us all up. He's like, hey guys. He's like, there's no way we're beating these fat fucks. He's like, so let's really get them going. And on three, we'll fucking let go of the rope. We're like, all right, bet. So we all fucking came out there. So we go 1, 2. So we're going. We're getting these guys going. They're fucking digging their heels in. We go 1, 2, 3. Whew, we let the fucking rope go. Yo, these guys fucking flew like far, like a lot farther than we thought they were gonna fly. Like I'm gonna say a good 3/4 of a block. And one of them like hit their head on a ring
Wow.
truck. Like they jumped up like they were gonna do something for a second, and then like all the wrestlers and like everybody all formed and they kind of like slunk off. But dude, when I think of Bammer, I think of that fucking story because dude, it was so fucking funny. Because like I said, I thought they were just gonna kind of like tumble down when we let go. They didn't. They fucking went flying. But I'm lucky I got to lock out with Bam Bam. Me and him, I think I was his last professional wrestling match. I wrestled him at Missouri Center in Jamaica, Queens in 2004. But he was a hell of a guy too. Fucking so tough. And I'm real good friends with his son Shane. He fucking rules. And Bammer's like my brother's big brother, you know? Like Bammer always had my brother's back. And if there's one guy you want to have your back, it's Bammer.
Yep. So I know you also mentioned to me that you once had a match with Chris Candido once in Ohio at like a random rest area with
Oh
special
my
guest
god.
referee Matt Bentley.
No, all right. So that was kind of a joke how I said that, but so we were driving from we were in the Midwest somewhere. I think Ohio, and we were going back to Pennsylvania. It was me, my brother, and Matt Bentley was riding with us, right? And So we're like, yo, we're hungry. Let's stop at a fucking rest stop. So we stop at a rest stop, and we get to, like at rest stop, there's all like already like prepared like burgers and shit and like everything like all under those like heated lamps. So
Yeah.
I'm on one side. All of a sudden, fucking, I get hit in the head with like a fucking baseball. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I'm like, who did that? And I was like, I'm like, who hit me with a fucking baseball? He's like, I hit you with a. I'm like, he's like, that was a cheeseburger. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, no, dude. I picked up a quarter pounder and I fucking hit you in the face with it. And I looked at the ground and I picked it up, and it was this burger. Like there was nobody manning the food thing, so I picked up this quarter pounder, and it was stuck like you see on the commercial. It was like perfect, stuck like that, and it was hard like a fucking baseball. So I'm like, you motherfucker, and I fucking threw it back at him, and he hit it, and he fucking slid it, and he fucking fell on the ground, right? So then there's a fucking wet floor sign there, so I pick it up and I fucking hit him with it. He fucking gets me back. I fucking duck. I give him a fucking Van Daminator with the fucking wet floor sign. So Matt Bentley's watching this whole fucking thing, and of course now we get there, we're fucking hitting each other over the head with fucking double quarter pounders, and then we get to the building. That people always say like, that game, telephone, tell a friend, tell a wrestler, tell everyone. The next day at the fucking building, I remember everybody's like, dude, we heard you guys had a fucking brawl at the rest area and they had to shut it down and the fucking got. But it was just so fucking funny because the rest area must have been out of commission or something, because I swear to God, when I got hit in the face with this thing, I thought somebody like threw a baseball at my face, and then I picked it up, and then me and my brother just commenced to beating the shit out of each other with stale burgers, and I gave him the Van Daminator with the wet floor sign, and that Bentley's just watching, fucking laughing his ass off, and of course he's like, you guys are fucking hilarious, and then he told everybody the next day. And one guy told the other guy who told the other guy. And it was, there's a match on YouTube. It's my brother, CM Punk, Matt Bentley, in a cage match. And that's the night after we had the brawl at the fucking rest stop. So that was the night I rolled up to the show, and everybody's like, oh, you guys, because like the stories had started making their way around, So yeah. Dude, that was fun. It was funny as hell. Because when I got hit, it felt like I got hit in the face with a baseball bat or something. But he's like, that was a cheeseburger. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, somebody just hit me with like a baseball bat or something in my face. And he's like, no, look on the ground. And then it was like all these stale cheeseburgers. And we had an impromptu match, and I think the finish was I gave him a fucking Van Daminator with a wet floor sign. But yeah, it was fun.
So was there like any people at that gas station at that time? Like what were like the workers thinking and whatever?
I nobody was working at the food place. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck was going on there. We had some onlookers, but I think fuck, if there were fucking like video phones then where you could take, because me and my brother would bust out into a match, during the like when we'd be fucking working out at the gym, we would fucking tie up and fucking do all kind of shit. If there's one thing I wish I did different, I almost want to go back to wrestling so I could do things a little bit differently as far as like work wise. Meaning, like I said, I started out boxing, but real punches are short and they're accurate and they're fast. And I don't know, for some reason in my head, first night I went to ECW with my brother. My brother worked Spike Dudley in like kind of a squash match. But then on top of that night was Brian Lee and Tommy Dreamer, and they had that scaffold match. But I remember when they were fighting through the crowd, and they were throwing these big haymakers, and it looked like they were really beating the shit out of each other. So in my mind, I'm like, this is how you got to throw. I'm like, that looks legit. I'm like, because my brother would always tell me, he's like, dude, do your boxing shit when you're out there? Da, 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 da. I'm like, yeah, but so I want to go back to. Because now, if I watch some of my stuff back, when I'm not paying attention, my punches are beautiful. Like, boom, boom. Like, when I'm not, but then when I try to, like, throw a working punch, because I think it's supposed to look over-exaggerated, I make it. I don't know, in my head, I thought that fucking, But yeah, I would fix that because, like I said, I watched a bunch of my matches back. My brother would always say, "Just do your fucking boxing shit. Just fucking hit him, bam, 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 bam." But I always thought it should be like more over exaggerated. Like that boot would throw like a good working punch. But I forget how I got on that tangent. But yeah, man, the fucking the fucking cheeseburger to the head, that was fucking funny. And yeah, dude, we had so much fucking fun. Like, so around '04, right? So now I'm getting booked a lot, and so was my brother. And this one time we got double booked, and we had a show at 15X, which is Jersey City, which is like up by New York City. And then the fucking next show was at Exit 1 off the Turnpike, which is like an hour and a half drive, right? So my brother, he's like, so we kind of double booked ourselves by accident. But so we get to the first show. My brother's working Norman Smiley and Crowbar in a fucking 3-way dance. I'm managing my brother, and the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, is running the locker room. My brother's like, he's like, all right, go in, say your hellos. I'm gonna try to talk to him to get us on second, so we can get to our next show down at exit 2 or wherever the fuck. So my brother convinces him to fucking let us on second. We get on, have our match. He goes, dude, hurry up, say your goodbyes. We got to go. I'm like, all right, let's go. So say our goodbyes. We're in the car. So we're like an hour something drive away from exit 2, and I have no gas in the car. None. I'm like, yo, Cook, we have to stop and get some fucking gas. He's like, we don't have time to get fucking gas. We have to go. Do you want this payday or not? I'm like, yes, but I don't know if we're going to fucking die of no gas. He's like, let's just go. Just go. Just get to the fucking exit. I'm like, all right. So we get to the exit. There's no GPS or anything. I'm like, all right, I'm off exit 2. Like, now what do you want me to do? There's no lights. Like, what the fuck? He's like, just use a wrestler's intuition. He's like, turn left, turn right, turn left. So then we see my brother's supposed to be working. I think it's supposed to be a tag match. Me and my brother versus Danny Dorian and Roadkill, right? So we find this match. I'm sorry, we find the show, and it's in a baseball field, and there's a huge fence everywhere, and Danny Dorian and Roadkill are in the fucking ring wrestling 2 other people. And me and my brother going, how the fuck do we get in this place? So the 2 of us scale the fence, come running from the fucking outfield. The fans all think it's part of the show. They're fucking cheering. We shit can the other people, have the fucking match, boom, 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 boom. You know, everything works out great. We're fucking laughing our asses off, telling the guys about our story, da-da-da-da-da. And then we're like, we're the last ones to leave, all right? Mind you, after all the fucking fun, we forget we have no gas in the car. So we leave, we start driving, we get up to a hill, all of a sudden, my car dies of no gas. And then it starts monsooning rain. We go, holy shit. So we start pushing the car in the rain, right? We push it down a mountain, like not a mountain, a fucking hill. And we get to a Navy base, Earl Navy base or some shit. And now it's really raining. And then these guys out in ponchos, we're like, hey, can you help us? They're like, this is the Navy base. Get the fuck out of here. We're like, fuck. So we push it back the other way. So my brother, mind you, he's just wearing a towel. He's got no shirt on, no nothing. I have clothes on, but wet clothes. So we push it like kind of near like a main drag. And my brother's out like trying to flag down cars. I'm like, dude, you look like a fucking serial killer. Like you're wearing a towel and like boots. Like get the fuck out of here. So I flag down a car. It's like a couple hot chicks in a Geo Metro. Long story long. I'm like, listen, ladies. I'm like, can you drive us to a gas station to fucking so we can get some gas to put in our car? So they did. These nice young ladies drove us to a gas station. So we got a gas can of a gas can of gas to put in our car to then drive back to the gas station. But when situations like that, the 2 of us were just laughing, pushing the car. We're like, how are we ever going to tell this story? You know, like for people to like understand the gravity of us in the middle of nowhere. I remember I'm from New Jersey. They're like, you're in New Jersey. I'm like, yeah, but I'm from like New Jersey. I don't know where the fuck I am. We're like in this, you know, somewhere in the sticks, you know. But yeah, dude, a lot of stories like that. Just where me and him are like, how are we ever gonna tell this story? Like how? Like people are not gonna understand the funniness of it except me and him.
Yeah.
All right, Blake the Snake. I'm fucking starving, but we had a great chat, brother. All right,
Yeah.
unless you
So
got,
I'll ask two more questions if that works for you.
you sure?
So, what is one thing you would tell your wrestling fans, and Johnny Candido's wrestling fans?
Hmm. What would I tell my wrestling fans? I appreciate you. You guys fucking rule. The little cluster of fans that I have that always like I got injured and they wrote me letters. I still have them fucking tacked up on the wall. Me and my brother's office. My fans fucking kick ass. Everyone can see and hear you. Oh yeah. Shit, Blake the Snake. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I'm back on.
Yo, what up, bro? Yeah, sorry, my fucking stupid group text is going on. Oh, what would I tell my fans is that they fucking rule. They're awesome, and thank you for being a fan of mine because
Yeah.
they kick. And like I said, they're super. They were always super cool, and when I was injured, they would send me fucking nice little cards and shit. I was really only an active wrestler from like '03 to '07, so I was in there for like just a minute because I had to stop after my brother passed away. We got to do a lot of cool shit in that little period of time. So I'm stoked about that.
Yeah. So, would you have any advice for me to become a wrestler?
So you have your heart set on it. You're dead set on being a wrestler.
Yeah.
Um. So is there like like an indie in your area that you go to all their shows and everything?
Yeah, about.
I would if I were you, I would get there early. Take bumps in the ring. Bounce around. Maybe if the ring, if they need an extra guy helping to set up, that will give you like major points. To show that you're like helping out. And always say hello to everyone, goodbye to everyone. Be very good, nice, and respectful. Um, and always work. If you were in front of 20,000 people or 20 people, work with the same, intensity. Um, Make sure you bump around for people, sell, have a good time. Have a good time, like everybody's in it to have a good time. And then later on, you'll start learning about making money. Like it took it being Chris Candido's brother, I kind of got a fast track to like being able to make money. Not like real people money, but like, because whatever. I started making $25 and $50, but then when I started like working with the legends, I started making like $200, and then like when me and Balls were doing like crazy stuff, then I started making like $250, $300, and I was selling my 8x10s. I thought I was fucking rolling in dough, but
Yeah.
um, but first, yeah, dude, do it because you fucking love it and for your passion. Um, get there early, take bumps, you know, learn the intricacies of like working. Don't plan out every little fucking thing. Um, learn to play off the crowd. Like there'd be times where like my first couple of matches with my brother, I want to plan everything. Like I always want to do like I had a couple things like people say GMSI, get my shit in. That's how I was in the beginning. I wanted to get everything I did. I did an overhead belly to belly. I did a fucking belly to back. I did a fucking insecurity, a swanton. I wanted to get all my shit in. But don't feel like you have to get all your shit in every single fucking match. Work, play to the crowd, what they want to hear. Sometimes less is more. And always defer to veterans. Be polite, but also have a set on you. But how has your experience been? So far. How has your experience been with your like local wrestling federation?
Oh, it's been great. They don't do much shows here, just here and there. But I've actually took bumps and like beginning training like once in the ring only for the company around here. But I was
Good.
recently talking about possibly training down in 45 minutes away in Green Bay because there's this wrestler who's wrestled on AEW who has a training school up in Green Bay that I was thinking about possibly training with. Or there's also Mr. Kennedy, who is in Minnesota. But yeah, I might be starting this summer, possibly.
Just my opinion. Maybe stick with whoever's running. If somebody's running consistently in your area, hang out for a while. Help put the fucking ring up. Get any chance you can to get in the ring and take bumps. Learn flat back bumps, learn your flip bumps, and just learn that kind of stuff first. Learn how to hit the ropes. You should only really take. How big of a guy are you?
I'm 130 pounds and I'm like 5'6".
All right, you could use because I was gonna say to get across the ring, you should take like 2.5 steps, maybe like 3 for you. But yeah, maybe work on eating some more, getting that, But before you commit to like any wrestling school, I would do a little bit of going to local shows, getting there early, help setting up the ring. How old of a fella are you? You look
15.
young. Oh, Jesus Christ, you're only 15? Oh, dude. Yeah, fucking stick before you. I think, in my opinion, I mean, I never went to a wrestling school. I guess I grew up in one because my brother's a wrestler. But stick around with your local, the people who are running locally. Help put the ring up. Take bumps. Learn to take flat back bumps, flip bumps. Take maybe somebody will set up like a row. Like a veteran, like little arm drag everyone. Learn all those basic things, and then simultaneously lift and fucking get all your shit together. Maybe do that a little bit, so when you go to a wrestling school, you're a little bit more advanced. You're a little bit ahead of the curve, so you're not coming in like totally green. That would be my advice.
Thank you.
No problem.
And I thank you for taking this time out to do this interview. It was a pleasure to have you on here, and it was awesome, this interview.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you. Thanks, man. All
Yeah.
right. I'll talk to you soon. I got I got your Instagram, so yeah, hit me up, let me know how everything's going. And yeah, my pleasure, brother.
All right. Yeah. Peace.
Peace.